So the title of talk is DAEs, Modeling, Analysis and Control. DAEs stands for Differential Algebraic Equations, and here the meaning is we will discuss systems described by differential and algebraic equations together, and I will briefly talk about three things. First part, modeling, then we will do some analysis for DAEs, and then finally I will show you some applications of algebra in controllability of DAEs. So see, the system of ODEs has been studied very well by mathematicians and engineers. As we know, a system of first order linear ODEs can be written in matrix form. X dot is equal to AX plus BU. All maths students start gaining knowledge about this system from graduation onwards. You see, in this system, the term BU makes the system inhomogeneous. Sometimes in ODE books, we see that inhomogeneous term is called as forcing term or deriving term, as it influences the system solution or response directly. That is, if you change U, we obtain a different solution. In the subject control systems, we call vector U as control vector or control variable. X means solution or response of this system is called state vector. A is called system matrix and B is called control matrix or control operator. Now about equation y is equal to Cx, it is called output equation. Since all state variables cannot be measured due to either unavailability of proper sensors or due to cost constraints. Generally, a part of X determined by matrix C goes in Y, and so Y is called output or measurement vector, and sometimes we say C matrix is output matrix. Moreover, this system, complete system, X dot is equal to AX plus BU, with or without this output equation Y is equal to Cx, in control systems, it is called, it is well familiar with name, state space system. And now onwards, I will refer this system by system SS. So when I will say system SS means this system, state space system, X dot is equal to AX plus BU, with or without this output equation. Okay. On the other hand, a combination of some ODEs and algebraic equations can be mathematically represented by EX dot is equal to AX plus BU. And this system of DAEs means, I repeat, differential algebraic equations. So any system of DAEs can be written in this form. And this system of DAEs with or without output equation Y is equal to Cx is called in control literature descriptor system. And in short, I will refer it by DS in coming slides. See, the reason behind the name descriptor is that because DAEs express the underlying situation more naturally. I will focus on this statement when I will give some examples. So first, let us take some examples to understand this fact. So let us take this basic example of LCR circuit. So this is R component, L component, C component, and Vs is source of either AC or DC. So if I represents current in the circuit at time t, then voltage drop VL across this inductor is L into I dot. I dot represents derivative with respect to time. If Vc is voltage drop across your capacitor, then Vc dot is equal to 1 upon C0I. Dot represents again derivative with respect to time everywhere in this example. And if VR is voltage drop across this resistor with resistance R, then by Ohm's law VR is equal to Ri. And if you apply Kirchhoff's voltage law, that says the sum of voltage drop across resistor, inductor and capacitor is equal to the total electromotive force Vs. That means we obtain this algebraic equation. VL plus Vc plus VR is equal to Vs. So this situation, this physical situation is well expressed by these four equations. See, if we want to represent this system by ODEs, means by state space systems, then what we can do, you substitute the values of VL, VC and VR from first three equations into this fourth equation. So if we substitute this thing here by integrating this second equation with respect to time to obtain Vc is equal to 1 upon C0 integration I, then we obtain this equation. And if you differentiate again one more time with respect to t, we obtain this second order equation. And we know that once we have second order ODE, constant coefficient, it is simple case, linear, then we can write linear system that contains two first order ODEs, and there is a well defined procedure for doing this. So if you take I is equal to x1 and x2 is equal to x1 dot, that is I dot, then if you differentiate one more times, you will see that x2 dot will be minus 1 upon LC0 x1, that is I, minus R upon LX2. So by taking this these variables x1 and x2 in this way, we can write this system second order ODE in this system form. And thus, if you are measuring I in this circuit, then you can set your output equation as y is equal to 1 0 into x1, because see, the product of these two matrices is x1. So output you are taking I. So you can easily express this situation by this 2 cross 2 state space system. Okay. See, originally we had four unknowns: I, VL, VC and VR. But in the state space form, the state vector contains information about I and I dot, because x1 is I and x2 is x1 dot, that is I dot, and I dot is somehow this VL, some constant multiple of VL. So state vector of this system contains information about two unknowns out of 4, that is I and VL. And in order to write this state space system, we need some manipulation. We have substituted values from these first 3 equations into this 4th equation. It takes time, and it is not easy to write a computer program for such manipulations always. It needs human involvement. On the other hand, descriptor systems approach suggests that you take vector x containing all 4 unknowns together and write these 4 equations in this form: Ex dot is equal to Ax plus Bu. And see, in this case, we can do it very easily by taking E this matrix, A this matrix, and B this matrix. We should spend a few seconds here just to check whether everything is fine. You see that if you write here, if you take this E, B, A, and X here in this system, first equation will be what? L I dot is equal to VL. So these 4 equations can be written easily in this way, but if you take this X, U, E, B, and A. See, electrical engineers simulate a circuit with the help of some automatic tools, softwares like SPICE. Now you think, if you have a circuit that contains 5 such LCR circuits, components, then SPICE returns us. SPICE is a automatic simulator. If you simulate that situation by SPICE software, then it returns us almost 20 equations, because we have such 5 LCR closed loops. Then converting these 20 equations in form of only ODEs, that is in a state space form, is a tedious job, remember, because we have to eliminate some variables. Rather, we can immediately write these 20 equations in descriptor form. So in previous slide, I claimed that descriptor approach comes naturally. Similarly, if we use Simulink in MATLAB for some constrained mechanical system, if you have observed, then it is easy to visualize that Simulink yields model in descriptor form and not in state space form. The ultimate claim is the following. Nowadays, the automatic modeling tools like Simulink or SPICE or some other modeling tools provide models in descriptor form. So it is important job of mathematicians to provide theory for descriptor systems and to translate all concepts of state space systems for descriptor systems. See, sometimes even it is not possible to convert a system into state space form. See this example. Suppose a system is described by implicit relation fx comma x dot. F is a function of x and x dot. F is equal to 0. This is our implicit relation. Then question is, can we always write an implicit system, this implicit system, into explicit form? See, explicit form means state space system. Once you obtain this, then you can linearize the things and you can obtain linear system, associated linear system. And answer is no, because implicit function theorem says that this implicit system can be written in this explicit form when partial derivative of f with respect to x dot is invertible. So see, I have written one example here. If x is a vector x1, x2, and f is this function that contains two components, x1 minus x1 dot plus 1 is equal to 0 and x1 dot x2 plus 2 is equal to 0. Then you see this matrix, partial derivative of f with respect to x dot is this matrix, and this is singular. So we cannot do this conversion into explicit form, but we can write system of dAs. Here it is nonlinear case, but we can linearize it. dAs can be written immediately because first equation suggests that x1 dot is equal to x1 plus 1, and if you substitute this value here in second equation, we obtain this algebraic constraint. See, there are some other names, particularly in mathematics, for descriptor systems. Engineers like this name, descriptor system, but in mathematics, some mathematicians like to say singular systems because matrix E in Ex dot is equal to Ax plus Bu is singular if it is a square case. Implicit system, due to this reason. dAs, of course, it is a system in simplest form. It is a system of differential and algebraic equations, and sometimes we call it generalized steady space system. Okay, so another example is from mechanical engineering. See, I discussed this constraint mechanical system. So if you have some knowledge of this type of system, constraint mechanical system means there is a dynamical part together with some algebraic constraint. That is the meaning. So in abstract form, we write this constraint mathematical form in this way. And this whole system of differential and algebraic equations can be written in Ex dot is equal to Ax plus Bu form. If you take E is equal to this matrix, A is equal to this matrix, B is equal to this, and X is equal to this. So constraint mechanical systems means descriptor form. See, here in example 4, I have given a particular example of constraint mechanical system. See, in mechatronics, often the problem of tracking control arises. For example, the prescribed path control of a robot. In this case, the process dynamics may be described by this dynamical part, this set of differential equations, and moreover, it is asked for a control U which guarantees that some output variable follow a prescribed path. That means together with this algebraic, together with this dynamical part, we have to satisfy C minus some reference is equal to 0, predefined path. So we have to take this algebraic constraint together with this system of ODEs, and hence it becomes dA. I have taken this example from Institute of Robotics, Wesseling, Germany. Okay, so the claim was that descriptor systems comes naturally. We have seen some examples, and remember the fact that nowadays some automatic modeling tools returns us system underlying physical situation in form of DAs, descriptor form. Now, to discuss some analysis part, I want to define one particular type of descriptor systems where analytical part is little bit easier, and that is regular DAs. See, in general, E and A may be rectangular, M cross N. Matrix B is M cross R, means component in control vectors are R. Okay. But if in a descriptor system, M is equal to N, means if it is square and there exists a lambda such that determinant of lambda E minus A is not identically 0, then this descriptor system is called regular. You can see one example. Sometimes we say this pair EA is regular. So if you take E matrix this and A matrix this and check this determinant, then it is lambda square. It is not identically 0, and hence this is a regular system. See, if I make this third row of A completely 0, then determinant of lambda E minus A will be 0, and so it becomes non-regular or irregular system. Regular systems, I will explain that there are certain problems in the solution of descriptor systems, certain challenges we have from mathematics part. But for regular systems, for a set of initial data, initial conditions, solution exists nicely. I will explain this, what is the meaning of this nice word here. See, before going on next slide, there is one more comment. Suppose this is a square case and E is invertible. Then we can convert this descriptor system into ODE form, state space form, by using inverse of E. But this conversion depends heavily on the condition number of matrix A. Remember. So such conversion is also not recommended in literature. Even if E is square and singular, square and invertible, suggestion is don't convert into ODE form, state space form, read this system in descriptor form itself. Okay. So now I define controllability concept for state space system first. X dot is equal to AX plus BU. So state space system is said to be controllable on time interval 0 to t, capital T, if for any initial state x0 and final required state x1, there exists control ut such that the solution of system satisfies x0 is equal to x0 and x capital T is equal to x1. See, in this system, x dot is equal to AX plus BU. If we know what is U, we can find X by finding solution of this system. Such problem is called forward problem. See, controllability problem is somehow inverse problem. We have to find a U such that solution corresponding to that U, solution trajectory at starting time gives you some point x0 and at final time it stops at x1, desired x1. So you can see if your A is 2 cross 2 and you plot this phase plane, so you have to set a control U such that the trajectory starts from x0 and ends at xt and you must be able to find such u for any pair of x0 and x capital T. Means you can steer your system in your Rn space from anywhere to anywhere. This concept is called controllability. Let us take one example. Suppose a wheel is rotating on the axle, the total moment of inertia being J. Then question is, can we bring the system to rest in time capital T by applying a braking force, braking torque U? Means you want to stop this angular movement in time capital T. So what is the equation of motion? J x dot is equal to U, where x is angular velocity. Now use a fundamental theorem of calculus. Solve this. It is a simple scalar case. What will be xt? X at capital T will be x at 0 plus 1 upon j integration of ut. Now what we want? We want x at final time must be 0. So to satisfy this condition, our control must satisfy this relation. Now, if we take u is equal to this, then we can check easily that if you substitute ut is equal to minus jx0 divided by capital T here in this equation, this relation is satisfied, and hence we have u such that our requirement is fulfilled, and hence this system is controllable. That is the meaning. See, but there is some practical problem with this u. If you want to stop in less time, means capital T is a fraction of second, then ut will be very big thing, and that may not be possible physically. So such type of situations we are not considering right now here. Controllability means we can steer our system from anywhere to anywhere in a given time. That is the meaning. Control may be some physically valid thing, or may not be possible to apply. For example, if you consider a motion of a car on a straight road. Car is moving with some speed, and you want to stop that car in 2 seconds. So theoretically, we see that the system is controllable, but maybe there is no practical force generated by braking function that can stop the car actually in 2 seconds. So that is a different thing, but theoretically there exists some u's that fulfill our requirement. If we want to set some other constraint on u by physical things, then this topic is called constraint controllability and becomes more interesting. Now, let us see some applications of algebra now. So, controllability test for state space system x dot is equal to ax plus bu. So, how can we check this controllability concept for state space system? So, in this result, there are 4 conditions and all are equivalent. First condition, the state space system is controllable on interval 0 to capital T. Second statement, this matrix, see, ultimately E is a A is a matrix, so I hope everybody knows that e raised to the power a can be calculated for any a. Although I will speak some about some properties of e raised to the power a. So for any a, e raised to the power a is a matrix. So it is e raised to the power a t minus s. T minus s is a constant, so it is a matrix. You multiply in B, then you multiply in this matrix. You multiply this matrix here. And integration of a matrix means you just integrate all the entries of matrix. So ultimately it is a matrix. And it is called controllability Gramian matrix for this system x root is equal to ax plus bu. If you use some substitution for t minus s, this matrix is same as this matrix. So second statement says that controllability Gramian matrix is non-singular. Third statement, this matrix C, MathCal C, and it is a matrix. First few columns are B, then we write A into B, then A square B, and up to A raised to the power n minus 1B. So it is a matrix that contains many columns and this n rows. So this is called controllability matrix. So third condition says that system is controllable if and only if controllability matrix has full row rank. And fourth result says that rank of lambda I minus A augmented B is equal to N. Means this matrix is full row rank for all lambda belongs to C. Now you see the beauty of algebra. See, first command, there is no involvement of capital T in this condition number 3. Condition number 3, you see, first statement, system is controllable on 0 to capital T. Second statement, you have to integrate this matrix from 0 to capital T. And there is no discussion about capital T in statement 3 and statement 4. These are pure algebraic results. And first conclusion is that if a system is controllable, because due to, and this it can be proved with the help of statement 2 also, but it is very clear from 3 that if it is controllable on some interval 0 to t for some capital T, then it is controllable for all capital T. If it is controllable in a specific time interval, then system is controllable in any time interval. Second important thing, you see this result number 3. If you want to check controllability, what you have to do? Matrix A is known, matrix B is known. You have to calculate rank of a matrix, simple. And if its rank is full row rank, then system is controllable. Forget about definition, forget about physical meaning, forget about physical situation. Just A and B are given, find this matrix C, write one line command in MATLAB, rank C, and if it is full row, then system is controllable. So this algebraic result makes our life easy. It was given, this result number 3 was given by a electrical engineer come mathematician Coleman in 1963. And result number 4 was given by M. Hartus in 1969. See, because it is due to its easiness, control systems are compulsory course in mechanical and electrical engineering in BTech. If you ask what is the meaning of controllability of a system x naught is equal to ax plus bu, many students will say that if rank of this ba square b up to a raised to the power n minus b is equal to n, then it is called control. So they treat this like a definition. This is so much famous, and due to its easiness. And we can prove this by using simple concepts of linear algebra. Okay, let us spend few minutes on the proof. I will not discuss complete proof. I will discuss this 2 implies 3, 3 implies 4. See, as a mathematician, I like this fourth result very much because it gives more thing, many theoretical thing about control system. So before proof, see this result number 4. Result number 4 says rank of lambda I minus a augmented b is equal to n for all lambda. See, we write for all lambda, but there is no need to check for all lambda. Because lambda I minus a, this matrix, only lambda I minus a, when this matrix loses its rank. If lambda is eigenvalue, otherwise it is always invertible. So no need to check this result for all lambda. Check this only for eigenvalues of a. So we write in this way, but actual meaning comes for all eigenvalues of a only. So you check whether this B supports this drop in the rank of this matrix and make the rank again n for each eigenvalue, then it is controllable. So because I want to explain some applications of algebra, so let us see proof quickly. And proof can be done by using very simple concepts of linear algebra. So to understand proof more efficiently, see these two remarks. Suppose I have a scalar function this, f lambda. F lambda is equal to, is expressed by this series, power series, Ci lambda raised to the power I summation I starts from 1 to infinity. And suppose this series converges with this radius of convergence capital R, means in this region modulus of lambda is strictly less than R. So suppose we have this function f represented by this power series, where this power series is convergent in this. Then for a matrix, square matrix A, this function is valid. And what is the meaning that this function is valid? That this right hand side series converges, and when this conversion holds in any norm of matrix, if all eigenvalues of lambda A, lambda I, has absolute value less than capital R, same R. So I repeat this result. If I have this function, scalar function f, represented by this power series, then fa is valid in the same disk of convergence. Now, second remark. Suppose k lambda is characteristic polynomial of A. Then theoretically I can write this f lambda, because it is a polynomial type thing. So I can write this f lambda by g lambda k lambda plus r lambda, where degree of r is less than n degree of k, because it is divisor in this long division. So if degree of r, remainder term will be less than n. Now you put here a in this equation. What you will obtain? Fa is equal to Ga Ka plus Ra. So this right hand side becomes Ra because Ka is 0. because it is Cayley-Hamilton theorem. Every square matrix satisfies its characteristic equation. So what is the meaning? FA can be written as a combination of A raised to the power 0, A raised to the power 1, A raised to the power 2, up to A raised to the power n minus 1. So FA can be written as a combination of these n matrices I, A square up to A raised to the power n minus 1. This holds for e raised to the power a. Now you see what is e raised to the power a. For e raised to the, because e raised to the power lambda, its Taylor series, its power series is fine for any lambda. This r is infinity in that case. So I, for any a, e raised to the power a exists. It is a valid matrix. And how can we calculate e raised to the power a? By this remark 2, e raised to the power a can be calculated as a combination by if you apply this Cayley-Hamilton theorem here. E raised to the power a can be written as a combination of I, a square, a raised to the power 2, a raised to the power 3, and up to a raised to the power n minus 1, where n is the order of matrix A. So if these two remarks are clear, then proof is easy. Let us spend some time to see this 2 implies 3. So suppose, so what is given in 2 statement 2? This matrix W, controllability Gramian matrix, is invertible. So this is given, and we have to prove that controllability matrix MathCal C is full row rank, has full row rank. So suppose this WC is invertible, then what is the meaning? Because WC, what is WC? E raised to the power A, B transpose, e raised to the power A transpose. So see, it is written in the form of A transpose. So it is symmetric. So WC is non-singular if it is positive definite. Invertible, then it is equivalent to the fact that it is positive definite, because symmetricity is automatically there. Then there does not exist any non-zero vector V such that this holds. This is V transpose, this matrix A, V. This holds. If you see this carefully, it is what inside this integral, integrand is the norm of this vector. So that means this implies this is 0. Now we will use contradiction. So let rank of MathCal C matrix, controllability matrix, is less than n. Then what is the meaning? Suppose C is not full row rank. What is the meaning? It is not, its column space is not full. And what is, if it is not full, what is remaining in codomain? If column space of a matrix is not full, what is remaining in a codomain? Left null space. So if rank of C is not full, then there exists a non-zero vector Q in left null space of matrix C. That means Q transpose C must be 0. And if this happens, that means Q transpose B, Q transpose BAB, because what is the definition of C? BAB, A square, B up to a raised to the power minus. So these all quantities must be 0. And what is the meaning? If there exists Q, a non-zero vector such that Q transpose B, AB, A square B, all quantities are 0. Now you see how we can express this function e raised to the power A S into B. Because e raised to the power a can be written as a combination of a square up to a raised to the power n minus 1. So e raised to the power a into b matrix can be written as a combination of a square minus. That means if rank of C is less than n, this contradicts this fact. So it is a contradiction. It cannot be less than n. So this implies 2 implies 3. Similarly, by using simple algebraic results. So what I have used here? So basically, to get this nice algebraic result, we have used what? Cayley-Hamilton theorem for fundamental subspaces, nothing else. So by using simple concepts of algebra, we can have very fantastic results in control theory, and there are many results. So I skip remaining part of this thing. Now see, quickly we see some problems in solution of descriptor systems. So suppose I have this descriptor system. First of all, suppose I have this state space system, x dot is equal to ax plus bu, and I have any initial data. Then we know that it has solution, and solution can be written in this form. So if u is a continuous function, then integration exists, and for each continuous u and for each initial data, this system has a solution, and this solution is unique. That we know. Now suppose this is my descriptor system. This is E x dot is equal to ax plus bu. So these are actually 3 equations. If you write equations, then what is the meaning? We have these 3 equations. And using these 3 equations, I can write one solution. So this equation says x. This equation, you start from this equation. Second equation says that x2 is minus u2. Will be minus u2 dot minus u1, and u3 is 0. So see, following 4 questions. That solution exists for arbitrary u? Here, this exists for any continuous u. So see, first 2 questions, does solution exist for arbitrary u, and what smoothness is required? So answer is solution does not exist for any u, because for existence of solution, u3 component of u must be 0. So it does not exist for arbitrary u. For existence of solution, u2 part, second component of u must be differentiable. So it needs more smoothness. Is solution unique? No, because x3 is arbitrary. And does solution exist for arbitrary initial condition? Again, no, because x1 at 0 must satisfy this constraint, and x3 at 0 must satisfy this constraint. So the answer of these 4 basic questions, each answer is no. So from here, from this slide, and this is only because the fact that my system is not regular. So regularity says that for a consistent initial condition, there exists a unique solution. So from this slide, we take this keyword consistent initial condition. Consistent initial condition means initial condition for which we have a nice solution of our system. What is the meaning of nice solution? I will explain, because when solution exists, there may be some impulses in solution. So see, next application of linear algebra here in now descriptor system. So suppose this descriptor system Ex dot is equal to Ax plus Bu is regular. Then we have 2 matrices Q and P, both are invertible, such that QEP is this matrix, diagonal components are I and N is nilpotent. QAP will be A1 I and 2, where A1 is in some Jordan form, and QB will be B1 B2. This is called Weierstrass decomposition of a regular system, where n1 plus n2 is equal to n. Means these partitions are as per the order of A, B, and E. So if our system is regular, then because we have Q and P in that gives me this decomposition. So I can pre-multiply this system by Q and post-multiply it by P and take this state transformation P square X. Then if I solve in place of this system, I solve this system. See carefully. I solve this system. Then if its solution is x1, x2, this vector x, x1, x2, then p into x1, x2, this vector solves, returns me x. That is solution of this original system. So if this is regular, I can use this decomposition and I can convert this system into this form. This is called Weierstrass form. And here, if you see the proof of finding Q and P, it depends on Jordan canonical form. It is like, you see these structure. I see this is generalized Jordan form for this pair EA. So it is extension of little bit extension of that concept, and it simplifies the system. And after converting this into a given system, Ex dot is equal to x plus Bu in Weierstrass form, we can write solution. This is given. We can convert in Weierstrass form, and we can find x1 and x2. And then if we apply P on this vector x1 and x2, it returns x, solution of this system. If you write these two subsystems separately, you see this Weierstrass form and write system separately, then we obtain two subsystems. One is ODE and another is this DAE, where n is nilpotent. Okay. So see, what is x1? Because it is system of ODE, so we know x1. x1 is this. x1 is e raised to the power a1t, some initial data, initial condition plus this integration. This is variation of parameter formula, well famous, well known. How can we solve this? Because n is nilpotent, so using Laplace transform and inverse Laplace transform, it is easy that we can find x2 is equal to this thing. Okay, let us spend, we have 5 more minutes. Let us spend some time on this calculation. See, if you take Laplace transform of this system, we obtain this thing, where an x2 0 is initial condition for this x2 vector. If you simplify, then x2 is this thing. So remaining thing is what is Sn minus I inverse. So Sn minus I inverse is this operator. It can be verified easily. Where nu is the nilpotency index of matrix N. So if you use this condition and use these formulas for Laplace transform, then we can see that Dirac delta function and its derivatives comes into the solution. That means solution may have impulses. If you simplify these results, So we obtain x1 is this, it is a nice part of solution, and x2 is this that may contains impulses in form of Dirac delta function and Dirac delta distribution and their derivative. This is called distributional solution of dx. Distributional solution is not nice for any system. So we have to kill these distribution, these impulses. And there will be no impulse in the system. You see this red part. This contains Dirac delta and its derivative. There will be no impulse in this system if x20 is equal to minus summation nj b2 uj, where this j represents derivative and this represents power here, and this index starts from 0 to nu minus 1. And this condition gives me the definition of consistent initial value. As I told you, I will explain what is the meaning of nice solution. So if initial data corresponding to the second part of solution x2 is in such a way that there is no impulses in the solution, then such initial condition is called consistent initial condition. So if you see this carefully, we can set this set of consistent initial condition. Set of initial consistent conditions contains two parts, x1 and x2. x1 corresponding to x1, there may be any initial data because there is no problem in this solution. Problem is here. So x1 you can take from anywhere, and for x2 you must satisfy this thing. So see carefully, what is this? x2 is equal to, this is x2 here, because here x0 is arbitrary for original condition. If you use this transformation P inverse, so this complete thing is x2, x20. So x20 is equal to means what? Where is x20? You see these matrices. x20 is equal to this means if B is equal to AX, where is B? B is in column space of A. So that means x20 is in column space of this matrix. Image or column space, both are same thing. So column image of this matrix is this thing, and so I set of initial data is Rn1 cross this notation angular bracket nb2 means column space of this matrix is this set. Similarly, e raised to the power ab can be written as a combination of this matrix can be written as a combination of B, because e raised to the power a can be written as a combination of a square up to a raised to the power n minus 1. So this matrix, this x1 is where in the column space of B, B1, B1, A1, sorry, A1, B1, then A1 square B1 and up to A1 a raised to the power n1 minus 1 and B1. So what solutions we can, where we can find solution in which space, that set is called reachable set. So see definition of reachable set is, it is collection of all points in Rn such that there exists a solution xu of your system where x0 is 0, so this is 0, and xt is x0. So first component of x0 will go in the column space of this matrix. So the reachable set of this system is defined as this. It is a space product of column space of these matrices A1, B1 and column space of n, B2. So I will finish this in next 5 minutes. So there are several types of concepts of controllability for descriptor system. First concept is complete controllability. Complete controllability meaning if reachable set is full set. And we can set easily these algebraic conditions here by using some concepts, easy concepts from algebra. This system is called reachable controllable if reachable set is a set of consistent initial condition, and we can derive these conditions with the help of algebra, some rank conditions like the Kalman test. System is called controllable at infinity if V is equal to Rn, and we can set these conditions. Now, in remaining 2 minutes, I explain what we have done briefly here in IIT Patna in our research group. So, see, if Ex dot is equal to Ax plus Bu is arbitrary general system, means E and A are any matrices of M cross N, and M need not be equal to N. Then it was already proved that this system is completely controllable if these two conditions are satisfied. See, first algebraic condition, this condition 4 is easy to check. We have some matrices and you check this rank condition. If rank condition is satisfied, it is fine. But you see the second condition. Second condition says that rank of lambda E minus A augmented B, this condition number 5, is equal to rank of this matrix E augmented A augmented B. For all lambda, it must hold. See, this is not straightforward like this state space system. In state space system, in Hotter's test, we have seen lambda I minus A, and that was related with eigenvalues of A. Here E and A both are, even these are not square. So checking this condition number 5 is not easy, although it is written in terms of rank, it is pure algebraic thing, but checking procedure is not easy. So what we have done, we have, using concepts of linear algebra, we have proved that this condition number 5 is equivalent to the controllability of some state space system. So we have designed this dA is given. We have designed a state space system such that if this condition holds for dA, then this condition is equivalent to the controllability of the derived state space system. And controllability of state space system means we can check this criteria by Hotter's test by using the eigenvalues of matrix A only. So these proofs, let us skip because time is not permitting. This is one example of constraint mechanical system. Okay, this slide is important. So what are more interesting and challenging open problems still in this field? See, I have written these systems, 4 systems. So the controllability of such systems is not well defined till now. What is first system? First system is time varying system. If components of A and B depends on time also, these are functions of time. For constant coefficient, it has been done. But for variable coefficient, this is not well defined. There are certain issues. See, second system is non-linear because time varying system and non-linear systems both are almost same, many similarity, many conditions you have to see in a same fashion. So controllability of these systems, semi-linear system, is also not well studied till now. See, the system 3 is with state delay. State delay systems are infinite dimensional systems, means you have to read. You have to take this state space as a infinite dimensional Banach space instead of this Rn. And if you consider this system Ex dot is equal to Ax plus Bu in infinite dimensional spaces, means X belongs to some Banach space and A and B are some linear operators on Banach spaces, then there is no result of controllability for descriptor systems. Although there is a lot of literature for such state space systems. So there are some interesting topics for research in this field. These are some good references. If you like this subject, then there is a book, G.R. Duan, written in 2010. It's a nice book for regular systems. Okay, this is my graduated students, research group, my current students. Thank you. Mahendra.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for such an interesting talk. Participants, if there is any question, please ask directly to the speaker. Please unmute yourself.
If you have time, I can take few questions.
Yes, sir, we have time because next lecture will start at 2:30. So now we don't have any next lecture.
Yes, I can take some questions.
Participants, if there is any question, please ask directly by unmuting yourself.
Good afternoon. Hello.
Yes, good afternoon. Ask question.
Sir, I thank you for this nice talk.
Okay.
First of all, and my question is, what is the notion of stability? I mean, how you interpret the notion of stability in descriptor system? Can you please explain? I mean,
see, stability of linear constant coefficient system has been done very well. Okay, and
yes,
concept is same. Definitions are almost same as for state space systems.
okay.
And there are some.
There is also, I mean, notion of I mean, eigenvalues, and if those are negative, lies in the negative half of the S-plane, then it is stable.
Yeah, see, eigenvalues concept is valid if this E and A are square systems.
Okay.
So
okay,
if rank drops, maximal rank drops of E and A for some lambda, then that lambda is called finite eigenvalue. There are two types of eigenvalues in descriptor systems: finite eigenvalue, infinite eigenvalue. So what is the meaning of finite eigenvalues? If maximal rank of lambda I minus A drops for some lambda, like what is eigenvalue for any matrix A? If rank of lambda I minus A drops, means it is not full, then lambda is called eigenvalue. So if rank of lambda I minus lambda E minus A drops for some lambda, that is called eigenvalue, finite eigenvalue even. And remaining eigenvalues are infinite. So handling infinite eigenvalue is a little bit difficult task in descriptor systems, and result is same. If all finite values, if there is, see, one result I can recall easily. If there is no infinite eigenvalue and all finite eigenvalues has negative real part, then it is stable.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So you can read this concept from this Dwan's book.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
So I would like to tell to the participants that all the lectures are recorded, and the drive link is already shared to you. So you will find all the lectures in the drive link, so you can download and you can watch it again. So is there any question further? Please ask. Okay, seems like there is no question. Thank you, Dr. Nutan Kumar Tomar. Thank you, sir, for this interesting talk. And
Okay.
participants, we will talk. We will meet again at 2:30 p.m. for the next lecture by Dr. Vikas Kumar Misra. He will talk. He will also talk about applications of linear algebra in control systems. Thank you, everyone.